Debbie. I wanted to come on here first before my WIP and chat today just to thank all of you for your continued support, and also those of you that are new, wanted to tell you a little bit about me. I am a college professor and I teach accounting. So that is my day job. I love to diamond paint. As you can see behind me, I also like to use stamps and ink and cardstock, and that is used for making cards. I make cards for soldiers as well as make cards for our Cards for Compassion church group, and we have someone else to send those out. I am really good at making the cards, but sending out cards, I kind of fail on that part. So I am trying to get my Christmas cards ready early and even addressed, the stamp on and everything, or they won't go out. So that is like my next project that I'll be working on over the next few weeks. And hopefully I will be able to succeed and not wait and then it's too late. But we'll see on that one. I haven't had much time this week to work on my diamond painting projects. I've been just really busy, and then I came home from work and just really tired, but I do have several projects that I'm working on. You can go back to some of the latest videos and see those if you're interested. I will also put that information up on the eye on the right-hand side up there, and you will be able to go back and look at those videos if you would like. I hope that you enjoy your video. This is going to be my weekly WIP and chat. If you're not familiar with a WIP and chat, that is a work in progress. You can work on whatever you would like. I'm going to be working on a diamond painting, and I'm going to work on the one that is absolutely huge, and that's a house on the cliff. Hopefully I can get something done on this between now and over the weekend as well. I am going to have Monday and Tuesday off from work, so I have a long weekend coming up, and I am really looking forward to that because I plan on diamond painting and also cleaning up my craft room. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in a few. Okay, I think I have everything set up the way that I need to. We'll see. I may have to move around. I've changed this up just a little bit. This one I have done very little on, but when I am done with this WIP and chat, I'll show you what I've done so far. This one is very confetti heavy. It is going to be gorgeous. I have not seen it completed yet. I haven't even seen anyone do it. This was one of the mystery canvases, or mystery box. It's not like mystery canvas, but it was a mystery box, and this was in box number 1. Well, of course, I had gotten box number 2, and I saw this and really wanted it. So I traded one of mine that came in my mystery box for this one, and I'm really glad that I did. I didn't realize how large that it was. I didn't even really look, to be honest. And at this point, it really doesn't matter what size that I am buying, because most of the ones that I buy are going to be large because I like the way that they look. I like that they're not pixelated. They take me forever, but you know, that's okay. I'm not in any kind of rush. I'm not doing this for a gift. I'm not doing this, you know, to try to rush through to see how many finishes that I can have. If I have just one finish, that's one more than what I had before. So that's just how I'm kind of looking at it. A finish is really nice to have, but it's not something that I am just trying to be in competition with anyone. That's certainly not the case. I just like to take my time, and apparently I like working on multiple canvases at once. At first, I didn't think that I did, because I start working on one, I forget to go back to the other ones, and then I get tired of working on one, then I do go back to it. So I think that that's going to be the norm for me for a while anyway. And I do like to participate in events And so sometimes I have to neglect some of my canvases so that I can participate in another event. And that's kind of what's happened with some of mine now. But that's okay too. I am good with that. As long as I go back to it, then I will be just fine. And as long as you're not just here for a finish, then it's all good. I think this one will eventually pick up speed for me once I get used to where the drills are and just to have time to work on it. I really didn't have a lot of time this week to work on my diamond paintings. And when I did, I mainly was downstairs instead of in my craft room. And this one's in my craft room. So I didn't want to carry it upstairs, which, I definitely could have. It's not a big deal. But I just prefer to just have one in my dining room that I'm working on, or one in our family room, depending on, what we're doing. And then I have the rest of mine down in the basement, which is my craft room. And so I'm fine with my setup. I kind of like how I have it now. I wasn't really sure at first when we moved here how I was going to do this, but so far I'm liking the way I have everything set up. And I will have to sometime this winter move everything out of my craft space and put it in the hall area of our basement, because my husband is going to change out my flooring for me. And we were going to do this whenever we moved in and decided we'll just wait. And then now that my room is settled, I like where everything is. Now my husband is ready to tear my room apart again for like the third time in order to do something else down here. And at least I'll have new flooring, because the flooring in my craft room is not very nice. It's actually a concrete floor because, it's a basement. But the prior owners actually just painted the floor with like concrete paint. I think it's some of the paint that you would use in a garage. And it looks okay, but it's peeling up. And if we're going to go ahead and do something with it, there's not any point in painting it again. I don't want that. I want it to look nice. So my husband is actually going to put flooring down for me. I've picked out what I would like. He's going to go and look at it. I'm just dreading moving everything. And my furniture in my craft room is so heavy that we can't just scoot it over. I'll have to take everything out and then put it back in. Which is okay. It's just a hassle, and it's a lot of work. But maybe I should go through some of my things and do some purging of some supplies that I'm never going to use, and I won't have to bother putting it back together again, or as much. But we'll see. So I haven't even asked you guys, I'm so rude. How is everyone doing? How's your week going so far? I'm recording this on a Thursday, so it's getting close to the weekend. By the time that you see this, it will be Friday morning. And so we will be getting closer to the weekend, and I'm really looking forward to that. As I mentioned, I am taking off Monday and Tuesday, just a couple of days off to kind of regroup, get some things done around the house, get to diamond paint more. And Monday is a holiday for the school. And so my daughter still has to go to school, and we are going to be closed, I think, for Columbus Day. And so I decided to just go ahead and put a vacation day back with that. And then I'll just have a very long weekend, which I am definitely looking forward to, especially after my daughter's ordeal with her orthodontics, or her surgery that she had to have for her teeth. And we are now on the upswing of that. She's feeling so much better. She's more active now than she was last week, and she is starting to eat better. So I think that that's about done. So hopefully she will not have to have any dental work in the next year or two, except for her every 3-month cleaning. We have her teeth cleaned every 3 to 4 months instead of 6 months. And we're fortunate because her stepmother works for a dentist, and a pediatric dentist at that. And she goes there and they don't charge us anything. So because of that, she gets to go every 3 months instead of every 6. And she kind of needs that because her teeth have terrible buildup. No matter how good that she brushes her teeth, she just has really bad buildup. And so she's able to go and have that taken care of, and she likes going there. And even though she is past the age for a pediatric dentist, they will go ahead and take her, mainly because she's special needs. They let her continue to go to the pediatric dentist. My oldest daughter goes to a different dentist, and it's on our insurance, but we had to pay for anything that she has done, especially with her actual surgery that she had to have her wisdom teeth removed. I had to pay for what the insurance didn't pay, and unfortunately it didn't pay a whole lot. So I was very lucky with my youngest. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm in a strange area here, so it's not real easy to do this. What I'm doing now is I am first outlining in black on the 310, and I like to outline first. I know that a lot of you guys don't like to do that, but I do that on anything. If it has outline with it, then I go ahead and I like to do that first, especially if it's the black, and then I will work around that. And it seems to go faster. I'm sure it doesn't, but it just seems to go faster. It goes more smoothly. But this one is just really, really confetti heavy. And if you're not sure what that means, it is where there are several colors in one small area, or one area that you're working on. And in this one, I decided to work on a larger area at one time rather than a smaller area. And it's taken me longer to do that, but I think it's going to be better in the long run once I get used to this canvas, because I'm hoping by the time that I get up to the middle portion, it's not going to be as confetti heavy, and I will be able to work faster. And I've been using a 7-placer. I was actually able to use a 10-placer on a very small area of this, and I haven't been able to even master a 10-placer in the past. And so I can see that I'm definitely improving on my diamond painting skills just by having my YouTube channel, because I am diamond painting more than I did, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. And sorry if you hear that little rattle. My hand keeps hitting the side of this desk. It is a desk where I can raise and lower the table, and I keep hitting the side where I can raise it or lower it. And I'm trying to move my hand over a little bit, but I'm right there on the edge of this corner. And so I'm kind of bumping it. I wanted you to be close, but not too close. I don't want to blind you. I don't know how close you guys want to be. I'm assuming that most of you will work on whatever you're working on, your work in progress, rather than watching me. That's what I do anyway. Doesn't mean that everybody does that, but it seems like that more people, they like the WIP and chats so they can work and listen. And I could actually multi-place here. Sometimes on WIP and chats, I just like to single place so I don't have to think about it. And I probably should have, if I'm going to use black, I should have filled up my little bottles because black here is getting low. I'd love to hear what all you guys are working on and if you have any plans for the weekend. I think that we are going to go to the fair. We haven't done that in a very long time. When my kids were little, we used to take them to the North Georgia Fair, which is where we used to live, very close. They have a really nice fairgrounds. And years later that we had been there, they actually have added a sky bucket. And you can see all over the city, and so that's really cool. And sometimes the sky bucket is actually open during different events. So that is part of the fairgrounds. Everything else, all the other rides and everything, they actually have a company that comes in and they actually bring in, rides and different things. And then they have different vendors that are local that will have food trucks or, whatnot. And they will have crafts there. And so we don't really go for the rides. My kids used to when they were little, but they would get so mad at me. And they still get a little aggravated. But I think now my oldest has, I think I just bumped you. I'm so sorry. Hope it doesn't make anybody sick. My oldest now, I think, appreciates more that I was so strict on what rides I would allow them to ride and what I wouldn't. Because when I was growing up, I worked for an amusement park in Memphis, Tennessee. It was called Libertyland. It is no longer there, sadly. It was really nice in its heyday. It had all the, basic carnival rides, the old, fashion rides, had a couple of roller coasters, and had a log ride, which was, water. You went down a hill. And I was a lead operator for 4 years, I think. And I worked mainly 2 rides. And that was one of the roller coasters, and then it was also the log ride, which was called the Flume. And I learned very quickly, because that was part of my job, to listen out for certain sounds and to look out for certain things when you were running your logistics and your testing on your rides every day and every night before you shut down. And so when we go anywhere, and I still to this day do it, I look around, I just kind of glance, I can listen, and if I hear something weird, if I don't like the way a chain looks, if it looks too dry, different things that I was required to look out for, then I wouldn't let the kids ride it. And they would get so frustrated when they were little because they wanted to ride certain things. And I absolutely refused. I would not let them. Even their dad got a little irritated. And he actually worked with me whenever I worked at Libertyland. He worked there. And he was a security officer, which I thought was hilarious because they didn't train you. It was kind of like, rent a policeman, rent a cop. But he was actually just hired to do that. They weren't hired they couldn't carry a gun or anything like that. And he actually was 18, so he wasn't even old enough to carry. They did not train him on, how to ward off anybody or, how to defend yourself or anything like that. So he just kind of walked around. If there was a problem, they would radio it in. So I thought that was kind of funny. But so he knew what I had to go through because he worked there a couple of years that I did. And I actually got him on there. So but he would still get upset if I told the kids or him, you know, you shouldn't ride this ride. It's not safe. I can tell you, I can see problems right now. And so one year, my kids really wanted to ride this ride that was kind of like little helicopters, but it was bumblebees, and you could steer it and it would go up in the air and, you know, that kind of thing. And so parents could ride with their kids. And so my kids were having a fit to ride this ride. And I looked at it and I said, there's something wrong with this ride. It's not right. You're not going to be able to ride this. I'm not going to let you. And they got all mad and they started crying and boo-hooing. And so finally I told them, you know, you either straighten up or we're going to leave. And that my oldest was like 8 or 9, I guess. And so they finally decided, you know, we don't want to leave. And so we better just find something else to do. Well, unfortunately, the very next day, we heard on the news that there was an incident at the fairgrounds. And what was it? It was the ride that I told my kids they weren't allowed to ride. And so they were both wide-eyed listening to the news because some kids did get hurt and they had to go to the hospital. And so they shut that ride down and would not open the ride for the rest of the time that the fair was there. So after that, they kind of listened to me a little bit more. And now that my daughter, both of them really, but my oldest, she went somewhere. And so she called me and she wanted to ride something. And she said, I want to send you a video. I want you to look at this and tell me what you think, because we're not really sure if we should ride this ride. So I looked at it and I told her, I said, you know, I really would not recommend it. I can't tell you now because you're older, and I can't tell you now that you cannot ride this, but I don't think it's a really good idea. And so she actually listened and she didn't ride it. And that very same day that she was going to ride it, something happened to that one. And she was lucky that she wasn't on it, very fortunate. And so now I think it's funny that, you know, she contacts me, you know, asking me, because, you know, now she knows that based on when she was younger, that maybe I should call mom and ask her this question before we just up and get on this ride. And I do this anywhere. It's not just the, you know, traveling fairs or carnivals or anything. It is anywhere, but especially there, because they don't have to have as many requirements that others do. I mean, the county still goes and they look and they will say if it's good or not, but who's to say the county knows anything about these rides? I mean, they don't have someone that worked at a fairgrounds before that, you know, knows all about the rides. And I don't know about a lot of them, but I can tell if something is wrong just by, you know, what I have learned. And so even going to like Disney World, I did that too at Disney. I'm like, I don't know about this one. And it was one that we went ahead and I said, well, you know, it was the Haunted Mansion. And I told my daughter, I'm like, you know, this just doesn't feel right. It feels weird when we're on this. Then we rode it again. What happens? We got stuck in the dark for 30 minutes. But that wasn't a ride that I was really worried about because it's inside, you know, it's on a small track and nothing was, you know, going to happen really with that. I just said, it just feels kind of bumpy. And so we stalled out and we had to end up walking down. They turned the lights on and it sure looks different when the lights are on. It doesn't look, you know, it's nothing to it, which I thought was really funny. And some people wanted to take pictures and they were not allowed to. But we did get a free pass to go back and ride again whenever we wanted to. So that was nice. But that's one of the things when I think of fall, because I was looking at some questions and it was asking, you know, what's some of your fall favorites? And the one thing that I always think about with fall was the Mid-South Fair. And the Mid-South Fair now, sadly, isn't like it used to be when I was growing up. I mean, everything is so different. And, of course it is. because that's been a long time, but it's gone down instead of up, gone downhill. But I always think of the Mid-South Fair. And the Mid-South Fair had all these rides. My family would always go every year. Even though it was expensive, we would save the money. We would go and ride some rides. And we'd always had to have a corn dog and a funnel cake. And my mom and my stepfather always went for the food. And I really didn't accept a corn dog. And to this day, if we go to a fair, I have to have a corn dog, and both of my kids have to have a funnel cake. They just love funnel cakes. So that's, I think, what we're going to do this weekend. We just haven't been in so long that we're going to go. I know we're not going to ride any rides. If my daughter wants to, she can. But I don't think that we will. But I have to get her a funnel cake. I have to get me a corn dog. And I don't even really like corn dogs, but it's that fair, greasy, nasty fair food that I just have to have a corn dog. And my husband just thinks I'm crazy, but he'll end up getting something too. Dad will be a corn dog, but he'll get something too. And when he was younger, his family never took him really anywhere. So whenever we go these places, he's just amazed at stuff that we know. He just thinks it's really funny. But it is a drive. It's over an hour away. And so we may, if we decide to go, I will tell my best friend, Cindy, who lives in that area, that we're going to be over there. I don't think she'll want to go to the fair with us, but we might just meet her for a few minutes and say hi. And we may end up changing our mind. It's totally up to my daughter if she wants to go. And then I think my oldest is working, so she won't be able to go, and it won't be as much fun without her because my daughter won't have as much fun. But I don't know. We'll see. So I don't know how I started with that, but I was just thinking of some really fall memories, and that is one of my favorite memories when I was a kid. I don't like scary. I don't like haunted houses. When I first went to Disney years and years ago, I was really nervous about the Haunted Mansion because I didn't know anything about it. And I thought, this is going to be really scary. I'm going to look really stupid in front of all these little kids. And of course, it was a fun ride. So it wasn't, scary or anything. But as for going to a haunted house, my oldest likes it. And I am really surprised because she has anxiety issues. And she gets really nervous and tense really fast over things that I was really surprised sometimes that she gets upset over. But she loves scary movies. She loves to go to haunted houses. It's just her thing. And I don't understand it, but that's what she likes to do. So that is really good for her. My youngest won't go either. She's never been in a haunted house other than the Haunted Mansion. And she loved that. She even wanted to ride by herself, and I wouldn't let her. I told her she had to ride with us because if something were to happen, she wouldn't know, what to do. For instance, when we had to walk down, she would have freaked out. She wouldn't have known without us. So I wouldn't let her. But she would just be happy to be at home. She doesn't like scary shows, nothing like that. So they are total opposites in some way. Another question was, what was like a really funny memory that you had from the fall, or a funny incident? And my oldest daughter that usually doesn't listen. Every once in a while, she'll tune in to my channel for a little bit, but she doesn't very long because she doesn't really craft. She will diamond paint every now and then, but she's more into gaming, so she has to concentrate, and she doesn't do that, of course, and listen to a WIP and chat. But a few years ago, she went to a haunted house, and it was one of the really popular ones outside of Atlanta. And it takes a long time to get tickets, and sometimes you have to go really late at night. So she went with a bunch of girlfriends, and it was when she was still in school, so it's been a while. But in these haunted houses, they are not supposed to touch you, to chase you, to talk to you, or anything like that. But I'm not sure what happened exactly. But one of the employees who was dressed up, and he had a chainsaw and was chasing people around. He wasn't supposed to do that either. But when he got to the group of girls, he started touching their shoulders. And the girls just kind of ignored it. And so my daughter really didn't know that this was happening. And she is not one of these touchy-feely kind of people anyway. She doesn't like people to be in her space. She doesn't like to be hugged or to touch. You know, she just thinks that's an invasion. And it is, especially on somebody that you don't know. So the person came up behind her with his chainsaw and grabbed her shoulder, and she turned around and she had her purse. It wasn't funny then, but it's hilarious now. She had a bag that she was carrying that had, you know, things in it. It was like a little mini backpack. And she got that purse and she just watched the guy one. Because, I mean, he had a chainsaw. The chainsaw was on. It was, you know, right next to her. And he was, you know, in her space. And it just scared her. And so she turned around and she hauled off. And she just smacked the daylights out of this guy. Gave him a black eye. So he went complaining, wanting to have her ejected from the haunted house. And so she told the manager that he had grabbed her, and she didn't know if that was part of it, if that was somebody that was coming behind her to grab her. And you just don't know nowadays. And so the manager agreed and told her that he was, you know, so sorry that she was antagonized by this person. They were not supposed to do that. They weren't supposed to chase them. So I think the person lost their job. But then all of her friends started making fun of her and telling her, you know, we're going to have to watch out for you because, you know, you have a mean hook there. And, you know, she didn't even weigh 100 pounds, and she knocked this guy down. But, you know, when she is provoked, it's like, watch out, because it's like she is going to hurt you if you're not careful. So now I know they're not supposed to do that. And so, but she is even more careful when she goes into a haunted house, that, you know, if someone doesn't touch her, they don't come around her. And she is hanging on to whoever she's with. And so I don't know why she likes it so much, because she's scared, but then she thinks, you know, she likes it. But I thought that was hilarious when she called me and she was all upset and she said, I hope they don't sue us. And I said, there's no way that any of that can happen, because they're the ones that provoked you. How did you know that that was part of the haunted house? That could have just been somebody coming in and pretending to work there. You don't know. And so after that, the next time that they went the same year, another time, and the next time that they went, there was this huge sign up saying that they were not allowed to touch them. They couldn't chase them. You're not to talk to any of the employees. And if something comes up like that, you are to let the manager or the owner know immediately. And so she said, that was all because of me. And I said, well, it's, you know, it's not your fault. You were protecting yourself. And I'm glad that she did that. Because, you know, who knows? And I have heard that in other places that it's happened, and it wasn't just a shoulder that they were touching. And I said, you know, you did what you should have done, and that person got fired because of it, because they know better than to do that. And especially sit there and try to terrorize young girls, because she was probably at that time 16, 17. But we still talk about that and think it's really funny, because she can hurt you as small as she is. And it's not that she tries to not gain weight. She eats very well. Her metabolism is just really high, like mine used to be back in the day, until I had kids, and then I got older. And now it's not like it used to be. But that was one of my funny stories of her, that she just had to go through and do that. And the same thing happened to me when I was younger. My stepfather dressed up as a ghost one year for a Halloween party that we actually did at church, which I'm really surprised at that, because they were very strict Southern Baptist and you didn't do anything. So to have a Halloween party where they allow costumes, I still think that was kind of strange. But he just threw on a sheet and that was his costume. He didn't try to get very creative. Well, he came up to me and he grabbed my shoulder. Well, I didn't know who that was. And so I smacked him too. Well, then of course he got mad and it was rather ugly when we got home, but I didn't know who he was. My mother didn't tell me that he had dressed up and he was a ghost. She didn't mention anything like that, so I didn't know who it was. He didn't say a word. He just came, put his hand on my shoulder and did it kind of hard. And, instinct took over and I slapped him. And of course, I never, ever, ever lived that one down. Anytime something would come up about somebody getting hurt or hit or something, they would have to bring up that story that I kicked him and I hit him. And that's one thing that I don't like about Halloween. I don't like the costumes where faces are covered. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Does that bother you? Do you enjoy that? It's always bothered me, but not to the point of being just really anxious over it. But one year, right after my husband and I had gotten married, I took my daughter out trick-or-treating and he was going to stay home and he was going to pass out candy. And we were just next door, our next door neighbors, and they had their lights on. And so we assumed that they were home. I was going to take her over there and they said they were going to be home, but they didn't answer the door. And then this guy came and he was wearing a screamer costume. You could not see his head at all. And it really looked like, the costume was so good, it looked like he was headless. It was just black and it just looked like the abyss. And then he had this horn thing that was on his shoulder and it made these awful screams. I guess that's why they would call him the screamer. And then he had this other little kid that was with him that had a costume of a gingerbread man. And the little kid was zipped up from top to bottom. You couldn't see a thing in there. I couldn't tell you if that was a girl or a boy or what. And so he was running around, but he kept chasing us and getting right up to us and making these screaming noises. And so after that, I told him that he needed to back off because he got close to my daughter. She was terrified. And I told him to back off and he didn't. And so I grabbed my daughter and we ran over to our house. And when I was telling my husband, and I said, something about this guy is not right. And within just a few minutes, there were a bunch of kids that was running. They were middle school, high schooler kids. And they started running towards our house from the back of the subdivision. And so my husband ran and you could tell that they were scared. He asked what was going on. And so they told the description of the same guy that was bothering my daughter and I. And so my husband called the police and told us to go in the house. And so the police came out and he was chasing all of these kids, especially the young girls. And then he started throwing stuff at them and it just got really strange. And so we had the kids stay at our house until their parents came and got them. And so they did find this person and they said they've had problems with him in the past. And just so happens that Halloween was a perfect time for him to come out and nobody could see who he was. And so I don't know what happened to that. But after that, I told my husband, no more. I am not going to take my daughter out unless he goes with me. And we're not going in our neighborhood because in the back of the neighborhood was starting to get kind of bad. And so we decided that we weren't going to even pass out candy anymore. So that kind of blew a wrench in my daughter's, Halloween experience, my youngest. And so now she doesn't really even like Halloween. She used to want to at least dress up and pass out candy. And because of what happened, she doesn't even want to do that anymore. And there's not that many kids where we live. Really, there's not any young ones. We are in a small cul-de-sac. And last year we decided we'll go ahead because we're in a new house and, new area that we'll see, if they have any trick-or-treaters and what it's like over here. And we only had one. And this person didn't even live over here. So I think we decided this year that we're just not even going to buy any candy. And I hate to do that, but it's just gotten to where you just don't know. And my kids are too old anyway to go trick-or-treating. They stopped that a long time ago, even before this was going to be, my daughter's last time. And so it kind of worked out that it was her last time, and that's what happened. And I hit this little thing again. I'm going to have to move this around next time because I know that's annoying. And I'm sitting here just single placing and enjoying myself. I hope that you guys love my WIP and chats because I really, really look forward to my WIP and chats. I have been having my WIP and chats on Fridays. And so I record them on Thursdays. Well, it worked out fine when I first started my channel back in February. I really didn't start doing WIP and chats until the early part of the summer, sometime in May, June timeframe, I think. And I don't have to go on campus in the summer. So it made it easy because I was at home and I like to record early in the mornings. But now on Thursdays, I am on campus Wednesday and Thursdays. And so it's harder for me to do my WIP and chats. I have to do it as soon as I get home. I don't want to be really noisy. My husband's still upstairs working, and so that works out. But I think, unless there's some objections from everybody, I'm going to change my WIP and chats from Friday to Tuesdays because Mondays are the perfect time for me to record a WIP and chat. And sometimes Sundays work, but usually Mondays are going to be better. So I'm going to try it for next week and see how that works out. And hopefully it's not a problem for everybody. And if it is, I'll just change it back. It's no big deal. But what I'll do on Tuesday, since I'm already having a WIP and chat on today, there won't be that much that's going to happen over the weekend to really talk about it, I don't think. But I'll do some more of these tag questions. I kind of like those because then it makes me think about things that happened a long time ago or things that are current and different funny things that I've done and my kids have done. And even my husband. He has done some crazy things growing up. So we'll see how that goes, but I think it'll be okay. But my WIP and chats, I really look forward to it because it's like I'm just sitting here talking to friends and I can think about what I'm going to say or not. Sometimes I don't even think about it. It just happens. I can tell you what's happened during the week, if anything. And so it's just nice to get caught up. And it's just really good because when I'm at work, I am just really busy. I am focused and I don't really talk to anybody. We say hi and that's about it. We're all cordial to each other, but we're all so busy trying to get lesson plans and doing planning and different things and talking to students and meeting after meeting after meetings that, I don't get to just stop and just talk to anybody, for a long period of time. And there's nobody that's in my faculty suite area. That is not sticky. There is nobody in my faculty suite area that diamond paints. They really don't even craft either. So I don't really have anybody to talk to them. They wouldn't understand if I talked about diamond paintings and, WIP and chats and drills. They wouldn't have any idea. And I could talk to them about cards, but they don't know about that either. So it's just kind of, they read. A lot of them will just read, and that's fine. And I love to read, but I don't like to just sit and talk about books that I read. And I like to read whatever book that I want to read. I'm kind of a, I don't want to say a picky reader, but if I'm not in the mood to read a certain book, doesn't matter how good it is, I'm not going to like it. And so I just like to read whenever, you know, I get the fancy, which I do read a lot. I have a book of the month subscription, and I've had that for a very long time. And I didn't think that I would like that, but I have kept my subscription up. And if you are a book of the month, I would like to hear how you like it as well. They're starting now to have audiobooks for book of the month. And so I'm not sure how that is going to work. If you have to purchase the book in order to get the audio of it. I am not crazy about this particular tray. I don't know why I picked this one up. It slides out and it has a little tab. The tab is very loose, and then the diamonds fall right through, and so they go everywhere instead of going into the little container. My other one is upstairs. I should have gone upstairs to get it, and I didn't when I was downstairs, but I want to go ahead and start recording while the dogs are outside and my husband's in a meeting. Okay, so I think I finished that. I'm not going to go that far over. Let's do a pretty color. This has a lot of browns in it and a lot of black, a lot of dark colors, but it has some gorgeous greens and blues. What do I want to do next? That Y is kind of dark too, but I'm on a dark section. I don't know how long this is going to take me to do, probably a very long time. So don't expect to see this one done anytime soon, I'm sure. Let's do, I haven't done this color yet. And there's only, I shouldn't say only, there's 62 colors in here. And so 62 isn't that much when you've been working with a Josephine Wall Diamond Painting Deutschland. That's 250. And speaking of Josephine Wall and Diamond Painting Deutschland, I don't know if you have seen my announcement that I posted under the community tab this week, but Kim with Kimba's Craft sent me a message and asked me if I knew about it. And unfortunately, Diamond Painting Deutschland has decided to stop sending out shipping to the US. And their reasoning is because of increasing shipping costs, that they use DHL, and DHL has significantly increased going to the US, and so they have had to stop sending to the US. And that just made the both of us, Kim and I, both really sad because we both love Diamond Painting Deutschland. And I'm hoping that this is only temporary. We don't know. I am going to send out a message to the owner of Diamond Painting Deutschland and to ask if they think that it's temporary, if they're planning on trying to do something about it, or if it just is what it is and that's it, no more. So I don't know, but if I find out, I will put that underneath the announcements and I will let her know, obviously, as well. And hopefully it is temporary, but their shipping was already pricey. It was already $50, I think. It was $25, and then it went up this last time. But they just charged you the one price. If you ordered one, it was the same amount as if you ordered 7. And so I would always order more, so that way I felt that I was getting my money's worth on shipping cost. So I don't know now how much that's going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm really interested in finding out. I don't need any Josephine walls or anything from there for a while, because I do have so many that I've been collecting. And luckily, I did place my order not very long ago, so I also have an unboxing of those. If you'd like to see those, I'll put that in the eye as well. And that one, I'm just really glad that I got it in. I was going to wait. I thought, I'm just going to wait till around Christmas, and then I can wrap these up and say that that's my Christmas present, you know, from my daughter. But I'm glad that I didn't, or I wouldn't have gotten them, and then I really, really would have been sad. So placing my order was a good thing, even though I wasn't really ready. And I feel really bad for those of you that had wanted one. You had even, I knew that there's a couple of you that have even sold some of your paintings in order to buy one from them, because you've heard so many things about them. And now, you know, you're out your paintings, and you're also, you know, out being able to order. And so I hate that for you. And if I would have known earlier, I definitely would have let everybody know. But apparently there was not any notice given. It was just, here it is, we're not doing this anymore, and that's the end of that. Which, you know, I wish that they would have given notice. They had really good customer service, and maybe that's just not something that they, you know, do there. They don't give notice. And maybe they didn't think that there would be that many wanting to purchase. You know, I don't know. And maybe they gave notice and I didn't see it, but I'm on there fairly often, and just to look to see, you know, what they have, what's in stock. And I didn't see it there or in the Facebook group, but I don't get on their Facebook group very often. So they could have put it there, and maybe I don't go on there enough and I didn't see it, but I didn't hear anybody talking about it either. So I'm just assuming that it was, you know, we're not doing this and this is the end. But if I get any information, I will definitely forward it on. And I know that Carol, one of my subscribers, she had been looking to order, and she had a big project that she was going to plan for 2023. And so now she's having to wait. And so, you know, I hate that for all of you, especially when I have been talking so highly of them. And I still will talk highly of them. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but I know that you've seen mine, and some of you may have been tempted to order from them because of that. And so for that, I feel really bad, because I hope that you just didn't do it. And then now you're disappointed, and you're missing some of your canvases that you sold so you could purchase theirs, because theirs are more expensive, and especially with the shipping. But hopefully they will see that they're losing money, income on the US. And so hopefully because of that, maybe they will come back and they will go ahead and they will start shipping again. These have static, and you will see coming up next week. I don't think there was one this week, but coming up, I have had a horrible time with drills and static over the past few weeks even. I don't usually have problems with Diamond Art Club static, but I have just been dealing with static on anything. And these have been sitting here and they still have static. And I kitted up the Christmas ones and they were really, really staticky. So I'm not exactly sure what is going on. I'm assuming that it has something to do with our climate here right now. But it has just been crazy. And that's one reason why I should not have used this particular tray. Was it does also generate more static, and so that's not helping. And my chair is really squeaky. I have found a couple of chairs I really like. I have to order them. I found one that I loved, and then I looked at the price, and I don't love a chair that much. It matched. It was really comfy. I would have to order it, but it was over $500, and that was before shipping. And I'm not going to pay that for a chair in my craft room. And especially with me using paint, and I use ink, I would probably on the first day, I would lose an ink pad or something would happen and I would just ruin my chair, and then I really would be mad. So I'm not paying that for a chair, not for a craft room. I wouldn't even pay that for an office chair because I'm up and down so much in the house. So I think that's a little high for a chair. So I have found others that I like, but I'm just debating because I have to order. I have sat in them and they felt comfortable, but if I don't like it, sending it back may be a challenge. So until then, I'm just going to be squeaky, which I guess will be okay. Let's see, what else has happened this week? My oldest is going to apply for an assistant manager training. And so hopefully she will get that. I'm really proud of her. I'm surprised that she wants to go that direction. She will for now, and then once she graduates, then she'll decide if that's what she wants to do, or if she wants to actually go into what she's going to school for. I think she's mainly going to school to have a backup plan in case, something happens. It's always good to have a second career or something that you would be able to move into if something happens and you have to change careers. You already have something else that you can fall back on. This drill's got a hole in it. I'm having a lot of issues with that too on some of these drills. These are Diamond Art Club's new drills, and I really do like them, but they have more little holes in the top than I'm used to for them. Now I forgot what letter. Oh, Y. How easy we forget. But anyway, my daughter is going to apply for that. She's been where she is now for over 3 years, and she knows what she's doing very well. So if she has to take a test, and so she will not have any problems passing the test, or at least her manager doesn't think that she will. So we'll see what she ends up deciding to do, but of course I'll support her in anything that she does. This will be helpful because it will be more money. I know that she struggles sometimes, so that would be really good for her. And it would also be more responsibility, which I think that she's ready for. And then my youngest, we found out this week with her, she has her final IEP, which is for special needs students. She has had one since she was 3. And as she got older, they come less and less. It's just usually once a year instead of twice. And so I figured that her last year would be it, because she's going to be aging out soon. And she's in a special program where she can stay in school until the day before her 22nd birthday. And then she ages out. And so her birthday is August the 10th. Well, school starts on August the 2nd next year. So she'll just be going for a few days, and there's a lot you have to do when you're in this program to make sure that everything is done. They ride the bus, and you have all these forms to fill out, and you have to get on the bus schedule, and it's just a big deal. And so her teacher sent me a message and asked me if I had planned on keeping her in August until she ages out in the program, or if her last time will be this year in May. And so I thought she was required to stay in this program until she ages out, and he said no, that she didn't have to. So I asked her, what she wanted to do, and I already knew, but I wanted to ask her because I wanted her to have, her input and to make the final decision. And so she did decide that she will just be done because she doesn't want to go for just a few days, see what they're doing, and then realize that she's not going to be a part of it. And so that makes perfect sense to me. So we found out that she's actually going to get her diploma in May, which will be good because kids, I don't know if it's a federal thing or if it is just state, but Georgia requires that students who have a modified plan, which is what she has, and she's had that throughout her education, that they have to go to school longer or they have to work in order to receive their high school diploma. And they don't get it until they are 22. And so she's been going through this program. It's given her something to do. It's giving her a purpose. She likes it. They're doing a lot of volunteering now within the community. And so after this, she will be able to go to another program, and it's VOTEC school. And so they will help her decide, what kind of job that she would like, or what she wants to do, or what she actually is capable of doing. They will help her find a job. They have mentors that go with her, will help her at work until she is comfortable. And all of that is because she's finished this program. And so the person that heads up the program was her former advocate when she was in elementary and middle school. So she knows her very well. And I think that she's looking forward to that. She actually wants to take an online photography class because she wants to learn more about photography. And so I'm going to find her something, whether it is through scrapbooking or whatever that it is, whatever it may look like, where she can take a photography class and it will be like on her own time, but she will be able to, listen to lectures. She's good at that. So I'm going to do something like that for her, and that will give her something to do, a purpose. And then if she doesn't find anything, any job-wise, then she will be able to actually volunteer at some of these places that she's been volunteering for. I'm hoping a job will come up because of that. But we're just going to wait and see what that looks like. So that's what's going on with her. And then everything else is about the same. We haven't done anything all week except for work. I had my card class, my card group, and we made a few cards for church. Some of us did, and then others were actually making Halloween cards. We have pretty much gotten ahead on all of our cards because we have more in our group. And so now there's extra cards, and we don't have to rush trying to get them done because we usually stop with our group around the middle of November, and we start back around the middle to end of January. That's really the only breaks that we take for the year. So that was on Wednesday. And then everything else is about the same. Nothing else. I'm still trying to get some exercise in, especially this time of year. Our weather is turned off very cool here. And it's cooler than what it normally is this time of year. And I have had arthritis since I was, I think, 12. And so anytime the weather changes, especially if it's a severe jump, then my bones hurt. And so I also have osteoporosis, and I have to be careful because of that. And so I've just been kind of just not really doing a whole lot. I'm just kind of resting my leg, especially my knee. Sometimes my knee hurts really bad, and then if I'm not careful, it wants to give out sometimes when I'm walking. It never has, but I can feel it, so I have to kind of just slow down. And I'm not used to slowing down. When it gets really cold is when I really have a problem. But I love the fall. It is my favorite time of the year. And then when it gets cold, not so much. But I'm enjoying this nice weather. It's just nice and crisp. It was 43 degrees this morning when I went to work. And of course it warms up, so it's kind of hard to decide what to wear in the mornings, and then you're going to be hot in the afternoons, but work is always so cold that I'm actually wearing a sweater all week, and I have been nice and cozy until I get home, and then I'm burning up. So what is your favorite season? I know that a lot of my friends love fall as well. I have a couple of friends that love summer. I'm like, I don't see how. It's just so hot. My friend Carrie, she's a very, very close friend. She watches every week, and she loves winter. You know, more power to you, Carrie. I'm glad that you like winter. Where she lives, they get a lot of snow. And she just loves the snow. I think she actually gets disappointed if they don't have snow. And so I live through her on the snow. I just tell her, you know, send me pictures. It is gorgeous. I'm so glad that you love it. I do not want it here, but so thankful that you have snow because you love the snow. And she grew up around that, around a lot of snow. She knows exactly what to do. Anything that happens in our area, if we get just a little bit of snow or a little bit of ice, the whole city shuts down. Schools are closed for a week. I mean, it's just like major. Stores are cleared out as if we're going to have a blizzard. Years ago, when the kids were younger, we had snow and it just hit at a worse time. And the highways even shut down. Cars were stranded, and they called it Snowmageddon. And my husband and I just died out laughing. Of course, that was after everything was over, because it took me 6 hours to get 4 miles down the road. 4 miles home. And I didn't think I would ever get home. I was about ready to just abandon the car. And so I don't ever want to do that again. But that was called Snowmageddon. And Atlanta was made a laughing stock. And sorry, my phone is going off here. I never get calls this time of day. I think I'm going to call this good, guys. I think that it's been close to an hour. I didn't think I'd have anything to talk about, and come to find out I did. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your day in order to be with me, and so we can craft together. And hopefully you were able to get something done as well. I didn't get a lot done, but well, I got quite a bit done, but not as much as I probably should have. But when I start talking, I start not really concentrating and thinking about what I'm doing. But I wanted to show you what I have completed this week and show you how gorgeous that this is. Okay, here is this little section here. And it is just a small section, but look how gorgeous this is going to be. I think this is going to be so much fun. And I actually have a place where I'm going to put this, I think, if I can get a frame this large. If you have not subscribed, I would love to have you as a subscriber. Also, please click on that like button before you leave, if you don't mind. And until next time, guys, happy diamond painting. Bye.